introduce yourself to our public, our community, please?
Oh my goodness, well, I'm Kari Lake, and I am a mom with 2 kids who decided to jump into politics and run for office to make our state a better place for our kids. I had a long career doing what Heidi does as a journalist, an honest and fair journalist, and I walked away from that career at a very large paycheck because I recognized that the news media had become a lot of propaganda and unfortunately wasn't putting the full truth out, and I didn't want to lend my heart and soul to that. So prayed to God and I said, God, lead me in the direction you want me to go. And I end up in the middle of politics, and we have a great movement of people who want to put our country first, put our families first, put our children first, and make life better here in Arizona.
How far did it take you to make that decision when you realized that it was not what you wanted in media?
Well, it happened during COVID, and I think a lot of people had a wake-up call during COVID where they just recognized something was going wrong. We were losing our rights, we were losing our freedom, and I recognized that in the media, the truth wasn't being put out. And I knew there was more to the story, and my effort to try to get it out, there was a resistance. And I recognized that the media was pushing fear, division. They wanted our elderly people trapped in nursing homes where we couldn't go visit with grandma and grandpa or mom and dad. They wanted our beautiful children masked up or sent home from school. And they put us through just a lot of draconian, outrageous restrictions that we didn't need to have. And on top of that, forcing vaccines on us against our will. And so during all of that, I recognized the media didn't want to question any of that.
When you say media, are you talking about your previous employer?
I'm talking about the general media, and I can't speak for everyone in the media, but the mainstream media, I don't believe, has always been telling the truth. I think some places it's getting better, but I think a lot of it is pushing an agenda of fear and division, and I don't want to be part of that. Okay. So I walked away. I put a video out to the people that I covered, the people of Arizona, telling them why I was walking away. And they reached out to me in droves by the tens of thousands saying, would you please run for office? We know you, we trust you, you understand the issues that we face in Arizona, and we would love to see you get into politics. And so I decided to do it, and we started a movement. And
here you are.
Here I am, and we have great solutions to the problems we're facing.
So one of those problems that I saw in your webpage, number one, it's border security.
Yes.
In the border security, you're suggesting, like the top priorities that I saw was the wall, to finish building the wall. Number two, technology to support Border Patrol. And number three, it says enforce a law that already on the book, but it's not being enforced right now.
That's right.
Which one are you referring to?
Well, a lot of the laws are not being enforced. One of the great things that President Trump did is when he came into office, he started to build that wall. The wall does work. Unfortunately, Joe Biden stopped the construction of that, and we've got people pouring across by the tens of thousands every single day. And President Trump enforced a lot of the laws, Title VIII, to make sure that people weren't just pouring across from countries where terrorism thrives. Right now, we have terrorists pouring across our country. We have people from 170 different countries coming in unvetted. And we know that, in fact, some of them will have ill will toward America. Not to mention, we have a housing situation right now where Americans don't have homes. And where are these 12 million people who've poured across under Joe Biden staying? They're being put up in hotels, they're being put up in homes, they're being given free airfare, job permits, work permits, and the American taxpayer is paying for that. You and I are paying for that. We have enough Americans struggling. They need help right now, and we shouldn't have 12 million people pouring across.
And talking about that people, Border Patrol, their part, they are following the law. Once they arrest a person and they ask for asylum, they have to process them. So do you think the law has to be changed in that regards?
Well, I think we need to stop people from coming over right now. These asylum laws are being rigged and used against our country. And people are coming over and saying they want to seek asylum because they have crime in their homeland. I think that is a law we need to change so that coming from a nation that it has endemic crime is not a reason to come to America, because guess what? America has endemic crime right now. Our streets are not safe. Not only can we not afford the groceries when we go to the grocery store, we're having to worry about our safety in walking across the grocery store parking lot. So a lot of people are coming across using these asylum laws fraudulently. They've been coached and trained by attorneys and nonprofits to do that. And we want people here who have true asylum cases, but not the cases that are not truthful.
And now talking about also the border fentanyl, we know that it's crossing the border every single day by
Yep.
thousands, and it's killing people, it's creating all these chaos in the country, but how can you stop this from crossing if you have people here that are buying for it?
Well, we have to come down on the cartels, and we have to work with Mexico. I mean, President Trump really had a great relationship with the Mexican president. He said, look, we're going to play hardball here. We can't have people pouring across our border. We can't have drugs pouring across our border. We need you to help on your side of the border so we don't have this problem. They worked out a deal. He was also on the verge of making a deal with China, the CCP. And the Chinese regime is the one who's providing these deadly ingredients that are then sent to Mexico, mixed up and turned into these deadly pills that are killing our young people.
And you as a senator, what would you do if you win?
In a U.S. Senator, what?
What would you do if you win to stop fentanyl as a senator, you?
I think what we have to do is start to work in a way where we're working with these other countries that are taking part in it, with Mexico, play hardball, as I said, with them. We can't be pouring money at countries that are contributing to having drugs pour across. Yes, people are using the drugs, but guess what? A lot of these people aren't drug addicts. I talked to a mother the other day who her 22-year-old daughter took a half a Xanax pill for anxiety. One pill should not kill you. This was a half a pill. Her daughter's gone, and her daughter's little boy will never know his mother because he was too young. And so this is the case with fentanyl. These are not all junkies using drugs. These are a Tylenol 3 that a young man named Tyler died from. One pill, he never woke up. So this is not a pill that's being necessarily abused. It's being mixed into drugs or into pills that look like they're legitimate, and it's killing people like that. And we're losing a whole generation of young people. And we'll never be able to see what their lives were going to be because they're snuffed out. I believe it's a weapon of mass destruction, frankly.
Yeah. Now let's talk about abortion. We know that you support life. Life is priceless. And you don't support federal ban on abortion. But what would you do to help a woman who's pregnant, who doesn't want a baby and cannot get an abortion?
I think that the left has lied a lot about abortion. They say they're pro-choice, and they don't give women choices. You walk into an abortion clinic and you're given one choice, and that's to take the baby's life. And so we need to do better at offering true choice for women, better choices for women. And the Republicans haven't been good at this. They talk about being pro-life, but they don't want to help support a mom, give her options. So what I believe we have to do better at is to find out why a woman is choosing an abortion. And right now with Joe Biden's economy, a lot of women feel they can't afford a baby. And can you imagine having an abortion because you can't afford your baby? And then you turn the news on and see that we're giving another $10 billion to Ukraine. We need to offer baby bonuses to people who get married and start a family. They did this in Hungary. They cut their abortions in half, and they never changed a single law. They did it by supporting families. The most beautiful gift in the world, if you ask any woman out there who's a mother, and she'll tell you, my greatest accomplishment, my greatest joy was being a mother. And I just want more women to have that. I want them to have that joy. But if a woman said, look, I can't take care of a baby, I don't think I have the ability to, they need to know that there are classes and training on how to be a good mom, but also adoptive services. And it shouldn't be so expensive. There's a lot of families out there who would love to adopt a baby, but the process is tedious and expensive. So I think we need to offer grants and help for families who want to adopt.
And now that we're talking about life, do you agree that anybody who is born in the U.S. is a U.S. citizen, has citizenship?
I don't think they are what's called a natural-born citizen. And I believe that a lot of people are coming here just to deliver a baby. If you go down to Yuma and ask the people in the hospitals, they're crossing over just so that baby will have citizenship. And I don't really think that's how our founding fathers set things up.
Will you change that?
I don't know if I'll have the ability to. I'm one voice and one vote in Washington, D.C., but I think we have to look at how we're handling the number of people pouring into this country. We have a very good legal immigration system, and I don't think that the way it's being operated right now with people pouring across is working for America. I have great compassion for the people in this country, and right now we're not showing any compassion to the people who are here when we let our borders be overrun, when we let people come over from countries that are sponsoring terrorism. We're putting our country at risk right now, and I'm not willing to allow American lives to be taken if we have a terrorist attack because we're not vetting people coming across.
Now let's talk about Trump after his victory in Iowa. You were there, but we also heard him saying that you would do great in the Senate. And in the past election, some said that his support to you affected you. Some said. Do you think his support right now to you will be in your favor or will be against you?
I think it'll be absolutely in my favor. President Trump is a great president. Unfortunately, the media did an 8-year smear campaign on him. They wrote lies about him for 8 years. They did character assassination on him for 8 years. Many of the stories were proven untrue and they never corrected them. And they've been trying to tear him down. This is a man who helped improve our economy. We had the strongest economy in my lifetime, and I've been around for a few years, for every sector of the population. Whether you're a Black American, Latino American, Asian American, white American, didn't matter. We had the lowest number of unemployment in all sectors. We had a strong economy, a strong stock market. People were hiring. People were able to make a living on one job. Now they have to have 3. So our lives are better under President Trump. I am honored to have his endorsement, and I think he's going to win and go in and help turn this country around. Make not just America a safer place, but the world. He's the only president in my lifetime and beyond who didn't start a new war, who didn't want to send our sons and daughters off to an endless war. And he wants to bring about world peace. He was on the verge of doing that with the Abraham Accords, and I believe that we need him back in order to not only save America, but help save the world.
Now, going back to the previous election, did you win? Were you defeated? How do you stand right now?
We had a corrupt election. We had an election that was fraught with fraud. And I've pointed it out, and we've shown the ways that they ran that election. And I'm still working to try to have our elections reformed so that all voters, whether they be Democrat, Independent, or Republican, know that when they cast their legal vote, it counts. It's not being watered down with a bunch of mail-in ballots that came from who knows where. And this is an important issue. I think when we look at the world, when you look at countries where elections are run fraudulently, that is the beginning of the end. And I'm sure that some of the people watching your show, your program tonight, many maybe have family members who've come from countries like that, countries like Cuba or other parts of Latin America where the elections just aren't trustworthy anymore. And once that happens, you lose your entire country.
So if we suddenly hear that the courts decide that you won the election, will you take the seat or will you still pursue the Senate seat?
That's a good question. We'll see what happens. Our cases are being dragged out by the courts. They don't want to deal with this election case, and they're dragging it out like molasses in the winter. And so we'll see what happens. I hope we have a judge who's willing to take that up and look at what needs to be done. My focus really is I want to see our elections reformed so that going forward we have honest elections. If a judge is courageous enough to say we need to redo that, then we redo it. But I don't know that we'll get that. And what we have is an opportunity right now here in Arizona to pick up a U.S. Senate seat, take it out of the hands of a radical Democrat who is for transitioning our children, turning our little precious boys into girls, who is for teaching our kids indoctrination in school rather than skills they can use. We don't have anybody running who is a mother. And I think you have an innate sense of what is right and wrong in this world when you're a mom. And I think taking a mom, putting me in the U.S. Senate, will get some common sense policies to fix the problems we have, from crime to homelessness to our education problems with our kids.
Now, again, going back to the previous election, it was said, studies showed that thousands of Republicans decided to vote Democrat, and some others just didn't cast a vote at all. Why should they now support you and vote for you?
I think just the opposite happened. I think a lot of Democrats voted Republican. They're tired of the direction things are going. We had a lot of independents vote. And I have the Republican vote. I feel very strongly that I have the Republican vote. Unfortunately, when you have hundreds of thousands of bogus ballots being pumped into the system, when you have on election day people showing up and the machines don't work, the machines didn't work at 60% of the polling locations. And so when and they were all Republican districts. Mm-hmm. That's a problem, and I just want to remedy that so that going forward, everybody out there who wants to vote on election day, if they choose to vote on election day, they should show up, the equipment should work. If they choose to vote early, they should have signature verification that is verified, and they weren't doing that. So we're just trying to make sure that elections are fair, so every Arizonan's voice is heard and vote is counted.
Can you send a last message to our community, to the Hispanic voters that are listening right now, that don't know who they should vote for because they feel there's just...
They're being tugged at from every
Exactly.
location. Well, I will tell them that I'm a mom, first and foremost. I have a son and daughter, 19 and 20, and they're worried about their future. And I know that all of us are worried about the future for our kids. I'm from a large family of 9. I grew up in a family of 9, 8 girls and 1 boy. And I married an incredible man. His name is Jeff, and he is Colombian. So my children are Latino. My husband is Latino. I understand how important family, God, opportunity is. And I just want to make sure that we all have a community to live in where our families can thrive, where we can worship God and be proud of that, and where we have opportunity. And most importantly, our kids have that opportunity and our grandkids. And I think everybody looking at the situation we're in now, if we look back 4 years ago, the economy was stronger. We had hope for our children, and I want to bring that back. And so I ask for your vote. I'm running against 2 Democrats who are want higher taxes. They want this indoctrination of our children. I want to actually make sure our kids are getting an education with some trade skill training and career training so they can get out of high school better equipped for the jobs that are out there.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Heidi.
Thank you.
It's great.